Thinking of getting a new ham radio transceiver? Chances are it boasts a built-in antenna tuner unit, or ATU. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Just plug in any antenna, flick a switch, and you're on the air, perfectly matched. These little boxes, ATUs, are often described as magic, making your radio happy with your antenna regardless. But have you ever stopped to wonder if relying on an ATU is always the best approach? Are they truly a ham radio friend? Or could they sometimes be a bit of a foe, or at least a bit misleading? Let's explore the real purpose of antenna tuners, and when we might be leaning on them a little too heavily. The truth is, antenna tuner units do have a legitimate and important role to play in ham radio. Their primary job is to help your radio and antenna work together efficiently when they aren't perfectly electrically matched, a situation we call impedance mismatch. Think of it this way. Some antennas, particularly those designed to work across many frequencies, or certain antenna types like long wires or loops, are inherently difficult to make perfectly matched across their entire operating range. Balanced feed lines, like ladder line, also often need impedance transformation. In these scenarios, an ATU is invaluable. It steps in to bridge the gap and ensure efficient signal transfer. Historically, ATUs gained popularity partly because early transistor transceivers were quite sensitive to reflected power, high SWR. The ATU was often included as a sort of protection circuit, safeguarding those early transistors. So, in these specific justified cases, an ATU is absolutely your friend. It's a useful tool to get the best from certain antenna types and protect your equipment. However, the issue arises when we start to expect an ATU to solve all our antenna problems. The modern ham radio trend sometimes leans towards simply sticking an ATU on any antenna, regardless of its design or suitability for the frequency. This is where the faux aspect emerges. You see, an ATU primarily works by making your radio see a low SWR. It cleverly disguises the mismatch, but it doesn't magically fix the antenna itself. Let's use an analogy. Imagine you've broken your leg. Slapping a bandage on it might hide the break and make it look a bit better. But the bandage hasn't actually healed the broken bone underneath, has it? You're still not walking properly, and the underlying problem remains. Similarly, an ATU can mask a fundamentally mismatched or poorly performing antenna. It can give you a lovely low SWR reading on your transceiver, making you think everything's fine. But the antenna itself might still be radiating inefficiently, weakly, or in directions you don't intend. It's not a magic wand to make a bad antenna suddenly perform like a well-designed resonant one. So, what's the takeaway? Antenna tuner units are useful tools, but they shouldn't be a substitute for understanding basic antenna principles and proper antenna setup. The best approach is always to strive to make your antenna as resonant as possible first, without relying on the tuner. Use the ATU for fine-tuning in specific situations, for multiband antennas, balanced lines, or slight mismatches. Don't expect it to perform miracles or fix a fundamentally flawed antenna system. Remember, an ATU is a tool for specific jobs, not a universal cure-all. To truly understand antenna performance and make informed choices about tuners and antennas, visit moonraceronline.com. Learn to understand your antennas and use your ATU wisely.